How can we develop patience for other people? How can we learn to coexist calmly with those around us? Any number of practical tips and techniques could be given. Count to 10 if I start getting angry, right? Be aware of my emotions, all kinds of things. And those can be great for what they are worth. But something that is more than practical and a little bit more profound and capable of changing us at a deeper level and addressing the issue at a deeper level would be to learn to see myself as primarily, first and foremost, as the imperfect one, as the one with any number of issues that are in need of addressing. What does that mean? So, if I suppose myself to be perfect in some or another way, if I suppose myself to be morally superior, if I suppose myself to be more fair than others, more just than others, kinder than others, more loving than others, wiser than others, with more kind of insight into life that others just don't get and that they don't see, it follows logically that I will have very little patience with other people. It makes sense. That's what should be the case in that case. So, for instance, a farmer should have not so much patience with his or her farm animals if they're not listening, right? It's why there's dogs can get involved to get the sheep into the corralled area, however it works, right? And you can push the pig into the sty gently, hopefully, but all the same, because it's understood I'm a person and these are my farm animals. It makes sense. So if I inside internally construe myself as the single person amidst farm animals, all of you, everybody else, it follows that I will not really have patience for others. It follows that I will not really be able to calmly coexist with other people. It's perfectly logical. If, on the other hand, I see myself as my problem, first and foremost, not necessarily as the biggest problem in the world, and we can get to kind of the pitfalls of this approach. Not saying, oh, I'm the only problem in the world, everything evil that there ever has been or is strictly in this individuality. No, but I'm my own problem. I'm my first problem. Right? Dealing with myself, developing myself, that is my number one priority. I'm looking for the imperfections that I have. I'm looking for and being honest about and acknowledging the weaknesses that I have. I'm thinking about how I can improve. I'm thinking about where I fall short in so many different domains. If that is my first priority, then how can I be impatient with others? Yeah, you have problems, but so do I. You have issues, but so do I. You're proud, but so am I. You have a big ego, but so do I. You have a tough time struggling with your impulses and appetites, but so do I. And even if we don't have the same faults, because everybody does, or most of us, we have different faults to some or another extent. Right? Well, I have different faults, no problem. You have a difficult time dealing with addiction. I have a difficult time dealing with sloth. I'm too lazy or something else. No problem. Right? So in this way, I can be patient with others and I can coexist with other imperfect people, such as am I, because we're all, excuse me, essentially in the same ship versus me being here and everybody else being down there, me being the farmer in that analogy and everybody else being the farm animals. That is certainly the incorrect attitude. Here, a couple of things could be added. One is a person may listen to such admonitions and say, yeah, that would be so if I was imperfect, if I had problems, but I am perfect and I don't have problems. If I want to think that, then Nobody can really help me. Good for me, and I can continue riding on my high horse and feeling alienated and at odds with other people. If I really think that, I can, excuse me, think a little bit deeper, right? For instance, where did I come from and where am I going? Okay, let's say, for the sake of argument, I'm perfect now. Where was I a little bit of time before? I'm 50, let's say. Where was I 51 or so years ago? Where will I be at most in 50, 70, if we're optimistic, years, right? From dust to dust. There's not much to be proud of. So even if I think that, I think a little bit deeper, right? And try to attain to a humble attitude. Further thing that could be said is, yeah, but for me, really the opposite is the problem. I struggle with a lack of self esteem, with a lack of pride, right? With a lack of ability to say it's actually your fault. I put everything on myself, right? People abuse me, people are rude and obnoxious, and I always blame myself, and I always point the finger at myself and say, why is it me? What's wrong with me? I must be so flawed. I want the opposite of that. I want to be able to point fingers at other people and call them out and hold them responsible. So here, what could be offered is that in question is what's true. It's not simply a blanket prescription of saying that other people cannot possibly have any problems. Other people cannot have anything wrong with them. It must always be my fault. Right? If somebody or if I encounter a raving, shall we say, loon on the street, that must be my fault. No, the question is what's true, right? So is it true that other people have their own problems? Absolutely. Is it true that other people have their own issues? Certainly. Is it true that other people will treat me in light of their own lens, which can be distorted? Absolutely. And that's their problem. Right? That's for them to deal with, or for me practically to deal with, like lock my doors, beat somebody up, set a boundary, don't talk to me, whatever the case might be. That, however, does not help me. Right? Everybody else in the world can be uh, the biggest villain possible. But if I'm a villain, I'm still a villain. You get the idea? Everybody else in the world can be awful. But if I'm working on myself, I'm working on myself. It's still on me. The point here would not be to say, oh, blame myself, quote unquote, for other people's problems. No, other people's problems are for them in light of their own issues. It's not to say, oh, I'm being abused, it's because of me. No, that's also the wrong attitude. Somebody's mistreating me, I have to blame myself. No, that's that person's problem. They're bad for it, as far as they are. And it's not my misperceptions. Right? I'm still my own problem. I still have to deal with myself. And I still, by searching for, uh, with a positive, constructive attitude, by searching for the issues that I have, by having that humble attitude, that understanding attitude that we're all struggling, I still will be way better off. And that is not the same thing as saying that other people are all perfect and they have no problems, and any issues that are out there, crime and war, it's because of me. That's not true. So that would be the problem. The question is, what is true? So anyways, in brief summary, when I sit on a high horse, when I stand on a tower, when I construe myself as a farmer dealing with piggies and sheep, then of course I will be arrogant. And of course, I will not really be able to be patient with other people because I think, what an idiot, right? I don't drive like this idiot here. I don't make the mistakes that this person does. I don't have the problems that he or she does. And I can feel superior and I can feel better about myself. The cost of that is delusion, alienation, and nothing good for me. If I swing to the opposite out of some kind of equal delusion and say, no, everybody else is perfect, and every single problem that there is actually informally because of me, war that's going on is because of me, craziness of some other person is because of me, that's the pendulum swinging to the other side, which is equally unreasonable. The appropriate attitude would seem to be to take responsibility for myself, see my strengths and weaknesses for what they are to the best of my ability, to make my own elevation and edification, meaning improvement, my priority, right? To commiserate with others because I also have my flaws, even if they're different from somebody else. And that way, hopefully, I will have the humility to keep pressing forward and also to feel a sense of unity and goodwill for others that are essentially in the same ship as am I. So we can consider it. Thank you for listening.